How to make millions on Amazon. Welcome to another episode of the Dan Lok Show. Now, if you want to learn how to make money online and you want to learn how to make money on Amazon, today I have a very, very special guest. I'm very excited because I have so many fans asking me, hey, Dan, how do we get started on Amazon? How do we make money on Amazon? I said, I do not know how. That's not my specialty. But I bring you a world-class expert today. Now, someone you may not have heard of, but someone, if you have bought from Amazon, you might have bought something from him. You don't even know it yet, right? You don't even know it. So he's an Inc. 500 top entrepreneur and has made multiple 8 figures online on Amazon. He's a world-class expert when it comes to online product sales and selling on Amazon. Mason Thomas. Mason, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for the amazing introduction. I appreciate it very much, and I'm super happy to be part of this show. You know, I've followed you. You may not have known this, but I followed you for quite some time. And the reason why I'm on this show is because I believe 100% in what you stand for. So that's why I'm here today and excited to talk to you and share a little bit about myself.
I appreciate it. And I want to dive right into it. Share with us, let's say someone who is thinking of starting on Amazon, right? They want to sell on Amazon. If you have to boil down to 3 things someone needs to focus on, what would those 3 things be?
Okay. And I get asked these questions often. So this is actually something that the very first thing I want to throw out there is, number one, just taking the action steps to go out there and do it. Because I know that seems very ambiguous, but the reason I throw that out there is there's so many people that let the fear get in the way of actually taking the action, the steps of actually going out there and making their ideas a reality. So number one, but now let's get into the meat of it, right? I'll give you some good tips. So number one, it's market research. So many people are willing to jump into a product or a business, you name it, without having any market research. That's where things go south. That's where people lose money. That's where people go down the wrong path because they're going out and they're launching something a lot of times, more often than not everybody. But a lot of people will go out there and they'll say, wow, this sounds like a really good idea. I know so-and-so made a lot of money in this industry. So guess what? I'm going to take some money out of my savings. I'm going to launch a product and I'm going to do the same thing. Little do they know that if they don't have the market research to back the product that they're putting out there, they could be jumping into a sea that is completely saturated. And it's okay if the market's saturated, but you need to understand what the consumers want. You need to be able to answer that demand. So whenever I launch a product personally, the biggest thing before I spend a dime, literally before I spend one dime, Dan, the first thing that I do is my market analysis. And that looks at the customers. I'm looking at what the competitors are selling. I'm looking at what the consumers want. And then ultimately I'm finding what the demand of the consumer is and what is not being met. When I figure out what's not being met, that's when it's time to start spending money. That's when it's time to launch a product.
I love it. So market research and what else?
The next thing would be allowing yourself to stand out. And the way that you stand out, once you have your listing and your products up and running, you need to understand marketing, at least to a simple degree, right? You need to know what's going to make your product jump off the page. You can have the best product in the world. And if you don't present it the right way, then it puts you in a position where nobody might ever find you. It's all about perceived value. So I've got met a lot of friends in this industry. I've been doing this for quite some time. And there's people out there that stand very strongly by make sure your marketing is right. It doesn't matter the product. Make sure your marketing's right. If your marketing's right, you're going to blow up. There's some truth to that. But why not have good marketing and a good product? When you bring those two together, fireworks.
100%. And if we want long-term sustainable success, because if your product is lousy, you have great marketing, well, you would actually fail a lot faster because you get out the marketplace, you have now a bad reputation, you're done, right?
Absolutely. So you need to have both, right? They work together cohesively. And if somebody's out there and they're thinking about getting one or the other, they might have short-term success. They might not have any success, but that's the key, is the lifetime value.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. And is there for someone, let's say they want to sell on Amazon. Now, Amazon is great because Amazon itself is a massive search engine, right? A typical digital marketing, as you know, you maybe build a funnel, they drive traffic, they do a lot of different things. But Amazon, what are some of the advantages of selling on Amazon?
Well, first and foremost, when you're driving traffic through funnels, one of the differences, you're going to have to figure out a way to get traffic to that funnel, right? When you're talking about Amazon, Amazon wants people that have good products selling on Amazon. So what they do is if you're a beginner on Amazon, I've had people come to me and one of their biggest obstacles is, hey, Mason, you were in the game for a long time, right? So you got into this when Amazon was in its infancy. What did that look like for you? And what does that mean for me? Well, here's the thing. Amazon doesn't give a damn how long you've been on Amazon, right? There's some algorithm and there are benefits to being on Amazon and having sold lots of products. But here's the thing. You still have a chance to become highly and wildly successful on Amazon if you have a good product. And here's why. When you first launch, you're on Amazon, you launch a product, and once you launch, Amazon will actually give you priority as a new person in the beginning. And if you convert, then guess what happens? Something magical happens. Your product will actually stay in front of the consumer's eyes. And the reason being is Amazon is incredibly good at making sure that if your product sells well, then they know they make money. So guess what they do? They put your product in front of the consumer.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's how Amazon makes money, right? So Amazon gives you the opportunity if your product is good. Now, what if my product it's new and I don't have a lot of reviews, right? And I don't have a track record, and then people could see only got like 5 reviews, and it's like not a lot, and I don't have that bestseller, seal. Then what do I need to do to push my products, especially during the launch period?
Sure. So that's the $1 million question, Dan. So the big thing here is that when you first launch a product, there are some things that help you rank in the algorithm. Now I'm giving technical advice here.
Yes.
So some people, they might not understand some of the stuff. So I'm going to break it down in the simplest terms.
Nice.
When you first launch a product, conversions is key. It doesn't matter. Actually, conversions is key throughout the life of the product, right? It's what helps you rank in the Amazon algorithm. It's what helps you rank for specific keywords. There is a solution in the beginning, and this is what we do. This is what I do when I launch a product. I make sure that my marketing is set up to retain my customers from the very get-go. And the way that I do that, it's transformed throughout the years. And this is where continued education comes into play. This is where staying on your game. And so you can, there's been people that have launched on Amazon. They didn't stay on top of the newest and best thing. And they dissipate, right? Yeah. So here's the thing. You have to be able to capture your customers' information. And when you do that, you need to be able to give them an experience that keeps them coming back. So one of the ways that I do that initially was using the Amazon platform with emails, but there's been a little bit of a shift there. So guess what? I found a better way to make it work. I found a better way that a lot of people out there aren't doing. I've utilized SMS marketing.
Yes.
To make sure that I capture my customers' information. So if I have a new product, here's the thing. Amazon sees my new product. They say, this product might be a good product. Maybe we should show it and give it a shot. They show it. We get a couple sales. Simultaneously, I'm running advertising. Advertising for me in the beginning is another huge necessity. It needs to be there, right? So if you don't know advertising, if you guys are watching, if anyone sees this, and you don't have advertising, learn how to do it. I don't care if you hate doing advertising, you know nothing about it, get out there and learn how to do advertising, because advertising is what's going to initially drive traffic to your product. When you start getting sales and they like the product, then what's going to happen is you can use SMS marketing, which is just the text message marketing, where they're going to reach out to you. You can capture their information and you just wow them. You blow them away with your customer support, your customer service. You gain real value in the eyes of the consumer. And guess what? They come back. And there's incentive. They leave reviews. I'm not saying incentive to leave a review. Better way to put that is they like the service they're getting from you. So they feel like they want to share their experience. And so they go on and they show you support because they believe in the product.
Got it. Let me see if I get this correctly. Because with Amazon, when you make a sale on Amazon, you don't capture the customer data, right? Because Amazon controls all of that. So see if I understand you correctly. So when you ship them the product, whatever physical product, there's some kind of a kind of a bounce back offer or something where I guess text this message to get whatever else. And then that's how you capture the information. Is that how it works?
Well, yeah, for the most part. So what happens is when you make a sale on Amazon, you do not get the customer's email. You don't get their personal contact information. And Amazon frowns upon taking customers off of their website because that's where they make money.
Mhm.
So you need to figure out another way to make it happen. And one of the loopholes here is that as long as it's part of the customer, the manufacturing packaging, and you can add whatever you want. You can add SMS links. You can tell them, hey, go to my website, next time, and we're going to give you a free bottle, whatever, right? Do whatever it takes to gain the loyalty of the consumer. So you're absolutely right, Dan. You need to be able to, Amazon doesn't make it easy to capture the customer information. So one of the downfalls is that. One of the incredible things about Amazon is that it currently, last time I checked, it's growing incredibly fast. But last time I had checked the statistics on retail sales in the US, it was getting over 50% of all retail sales in the US. I mean, it's huge, right? Huge. It's expanding super fast. Everybody can get a piece of the pie. So there's a lot of people there, right? And that is the primary benefit of being on Amazon. And then also it gives you some credibility because people know what Amazon is. And if your product's on there, then it gives you credibility.
Yeah, because the trust is already there. Well, they have our credit cards on file. Every time I buy something like Kindle and things like that, it's one-click buy. That's a lot of trust right there, right? That's one-click buy technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got it. So from there, you capture the customer info. So when you do any kind of launch, I assume when you say advertise, you're running ads, running traffic, Facebook, and things like that to your Amazon listing, right?
So that's where it gets a little subjective. It depends on the person, right? For me, if I will not run external traffic to my Amazon.
Listing. Yeah, okay.
Now it's totally subjective. It depends on the person. If they want to run. So the advertising I was referring to was the SMS. The Amazon advertising. Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So run ads within Amazon, kind of just get the initial momentum going, right? Getting sales happening. If you have some existing customers, you give them a special offer, they go buy, they leave some reviews. So there's a lot of activities going on, right? And naturally that generates more organic sales, correct?
Absolutely.
Got it. That's brilliant. Now, what about in terms of like finding product? Let's say we've done the market research. We know that this niche there's potential, supply and demand works in my favor. Where do I find some of these products and source these products? A lot of people, they say, you need to get it from China, or like, how do we go about doing that?
Sure. So this is where it gets deep, right? The market analysis is one thing, but you're going to use that market analysis to help you determine what products make the most sense. So everyone, one of the biggest questions I get asked among many, but one really common one is that people want to know, like, where do I start? How do I even know what product to look at? Where do I start? So I always tell them, break down the categories by the major market segments. Some of them may be fitness, the health, the beauty, and all the other major market segments. Find something that you're passionate about. Now, there's controversy around that too. Do you chase what you're passionate about, or you chase where the trends are? Well, you got to start somewhere. You need to start looking at something. Yeah. So, there's websites. When you're out there and you're looking for a product to launch, you're going to be running through the Amazon. You're selling on the Amazon platform. So you're going to want to look at the products that are selling well on the Amazon platform. So you're going to want to look at, eBay. You're going to want to look at Walmart.com, Sears.com. You're going to want to do your Google searches and all the other major search engines. You're going to want to see what people are looking for. First, you have to dial in the category. That's the only thing that people have to literally start from scratch, unless they have some other information that they've obtained that says, hey, look, this is a really good industry. You should get involved with it now, which is great. You can do that too, but you need to start somewhere. And usually people have to make that decision on their own. Once they've decided, I'm going to look at this category. For me, a lot of times it's fitness, right? Fitness never goes away. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to look good. Everyone wants to feel good, right? I want to anyway. So if they're anything like me, then they're probably, that's a strong industry. So that's a category that I've stayed in. So when I'm looking for something new, I'm following the trends. I'm seeing what consumers are responding to. I'm seeing what the blogs out there, the Q&A websites. I'm looking at the platforms I'm planning on selling on. I'm looking at what the consumers are saying about it. So all of that comes together to help me decide what product I'm going to sell.
And chances are, if this is your first product, that your first product, it may not be the home run that you're looking for. But you get in the game. You learn how Amazon works, learn how the business works, and that's okay. Like, I'm sure, Mason, the first product that you have, it wasn't like a home run. It was like after a few mistakes, right? And okay, now I've got something that works very, very well.
Yeah, there's mistakes, right? We make mistakes, but I'll tell you what, and I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here. I've gotten pretty damn good at understanding the market research, and this is just what I do. I've done it every day. It's my passion. I love it. Because it's my passion, I've stayed on top of it, and I continually am reading the trends and I'm understanding it. And it's something that's learnable. It's something that we get better at the more we do it, just like anything, right? So, not every product you launch is going to be that one home run, but all it takes is one. And if you do the market research and you get your market analysis, and you do a good job at that, chances are you're going to make some money because you know the demand is there. But there's other elements, right? It's like having this, I look at a wheel, right? And there's spokes in a wheel. Amazon's one spoke in the wheel. And a lot of people are like, well, hey, you're the Amazon guy, right? That's what you do. Amazon landed me in Inc. 500 magazine, right? I'm a contributor to Forbes magazine as a result of it. Speaking as an expert in launching physical products in the entrepreneurial space. But I understand, I've been in the game long enough, and Dan, I'm sure you can relate to this, that it's nothing's ever one-dimensional, right? You want to build out every one of those spokes as long as you can, and have as much diversification as possible.
100%. I got it. So let's say once we have the product, we launch a product, we get it going. I'm curious, how do you prevent people from, let's say, knocking your ideas off? They might say, oh, hey man, that's a good idea. Because the thing with Amazon, everybody knows that that's a best-selling product. We all know that's a best-selling product. We see the reviews. We can get an idea. That product is making very, very good money, right? So how do you prevent competition from coming in and say they're going to copy what you do?
Brand registry is what's protecting me from that. And let me tell you that I've been through some craziness in the beginning before brand registry was in place. So I stress this every time: get your intellectual property squared away.
Trademark, right?
Get your trademarks and then apply for brand registry. It'll give you the ability to protect yourself as a brand, and it gives you more credibility too.
And that's the longevity. And do you find that, what about pricing and profit margin? I have another friend of mine, he's also doing very well on Amazon. And one thing he suggested, I want to run it by you, is there needs to be a certain margin and certain price point that sell better. Like if your product I'm not saying you won't sell, but if your product is $500, it's not going to sell as fast, right? You want things that kind of impulsive buy, like within a certain price point. And then you want certain margin, because if your cost is too great, then you cannot do advertising, not enough advertising on Amazon. What's your take?
Yeah. So personally, I've never gone into the realm of $500 products on Amazon. It's hard for me to speak to that and what that would do. But for me, I do follow a general rule of thumb when I'm launching a product, and that is that I like to have the retail price be between $20 and $100. That's just been my sweet spot.
Got it.
Right?
So part 20, of that, 20 to 100, and then what would be a good profit margin? What should we aim for?
For me, 30 to 40% is what I shoot for.
Okay.
30 to 40%, and we're talking cost of goods sold.
And then you still have some room to play with in terms of advertising.
Oh, I'm including advertising. When I say cost of goods sold, I'm talking about brand wide, what my average cost of goods sold is. Those are the type of margins that I'm doing with advertising. Got
it. So I think that's also a good criteria that tells you what products you may want to stay away from, right? If someone was watching this, if the margin is not quite enough, then maybe you want to consider something else, right?
Yeah, if the margin is not there, then you've always got to consider that, right? And every industry is going to be different. It depends on the demand. It depends on what you're offering. If you've got something that's super hot, nobody else is offering it, then maybe you can get the traction and you can build enough brand loyalty where people keep coming back to you. But initially, it's always good to have as much margin as possible so you can get the brand from point A to point B. Point A being the starting point B being making lots of money or whatever your goal is.
Do you find that do you like consumable products better where people buy more than once?
That's a good point. Consumables are excellent because they continually come back for more if the product is good. If the product works, then they come back again in 30 days and 60 days. So it is very sustainable.
That dries up your volume, right?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Here's the difference. Here's the great thing about the industry that I'm in. If it is a consumable, A lot of times, if they trust you, they like you, they know you, they're buying your products and it's working well, you can look at the product you're selling them and you can say, hey, look, this is the group, this demographic bought this product. Maybe they'd be interested in XYZ product.
Yes.
Now you have the capabilities of reaching out and doing some cross marketing. But again, that's where your SMS comes into play. That's where you separate the really successful people that are doing business on Amazon and online from the ones that are not. They're the ones who are thinking the long game. How am I going to get these customers as much value so they love me over more than anybody else that's out there?
Do you believe, I know the Amazon sellers where they're using Amazon almost like a lead generation, and then once they capture the customer, they drive them back to their own website, their own e-commerce store to buy from them? Or do you believe in, hey, let's keep most of that business on Amazon because Amazon is a massive search engine, and then we can capture the data, the customer info, but we still want to drive them back to Amazon because that brings in more new customers? Like, what's your philosophy?
My philosophy on that and opinion, because I think it would be opinion, based on my experience, would be whenever you can get control of your customer, get control of your customer. If you can bring your customer back to your database and you have the infrastructure to sustain the numbers and make sure that you're going to still deliver the same level of value, because hey, look, they're on Amazon, right? That's like almost an unparalleled level of customer service. So you need to be able to replicate that if you want to keep them. The last thing you want to do is take them to your website, not be able to deliver the same value and the same level of customer service they're used to getting.
That's of experience. Yeah, got it.
Right.
Awesome. What are some of the key metrics someone has to focus on when it comes to Amazon? Like, what do you look at in terms of data and metrics?
Conversions is the biggest thing. You know, conversions is huge. And then ACoS. ACoS is your average cost of sale when you're doing your advertising. So we're looking at what is our the return rate. We have external data that shows us how often are these customers purchasing and are they coming back? Are they repeat customers? That's some data that is extremely valuable to us.
The clients you work with, do you find that they have, like, say, a couple key products that are like they're selling very well, or do they have a lot of SKUs, like a lot of product they sell on Amazon?
It depends. It depends. You know, there's some people out there that have one product that it's like home run, and they're like, hey, I did what I wanted to do. I can work from anywhere I want to work from, and this is sustainable. And then there's people that are like, this is not where I want to be. I want to blow this up, and I want a huge brand, and I want to take it to the next level. And that's what they do, you know?
And there's some there with a line of products, right? Which they're in different verticals.
Yeah. Diversification. There's always more money and there's always more opportunity in diversification. And by launching more products and expanding the line, you get exactly that.
Yes. And on Amazon, it's interesting. I noticed this is at least what my successful Amazon entrepreneur friend is telling me. Once he's got a product that works, it kind of is very, very consistent, right? Every single day he's getting X amount of sales. It's pretty consistent. That he doesn't do a whole lot, like still do some advertising, but it's pretty steady.
Absolutely. If you get a product that really takes off and does well, you can piggyback that and sky's the limit, because you know, you got a product that people like, you got brand loyalty because they know you've got really good quality, and you can launch more products and begin to build off of that. Absolutely.
And what about, talk to us a little bit about like Amazon fulfillment and like some of the logistics. That would be great.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the reason I did this years ago had nothing to do with money, right? This was all about having the free time. And I found out really soon, or really early on, that, wow, okay, I've got this business, I'm making sales, I'm making good money, but I'm working 7 days a week. I'm working, sometimes 12, 14 hours a day. I didn't know how to.
Were you doing your own shipping, Mason? Were you do like?
Oh my gosh! In the beginning, it was like boxes. I had multiple trips every single day to the store. I mean, talk about the least technically sound system. There was no system. There were hundreds of bottles, and me showing up at the post office. They know me by name, and I know them by name. And that's the way it looked. It was out of control. So yeah, it's good. I'm glad you brought that up, because the FBA allows you to systemize your business and put it on autopilot. It's what has allowed me to travel the world. In fact, I'm after this conversation we're having here, I'm headed off to London and then to Ireland.
Beautiful.
And I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be running my business completely automated. I've got a team, everything is ran in an automated fashion. And it's what allows me to grow the company the way I've been able to, but still enjoy my life. That's what it's been about. So FBA, to answer your question, fulfill my
100%. You shouldn't be, if you're shipping your own stuff and like flicking those stamps and taking the post office, something is wrong.
Oh yeah.
Something is very wrong. That's not what we're talking about, right? Yeah, talk to us about legacy method, because I think from your background, what inspired you to create that? Because I also want to talk about your book as well.
Yeah. So, the reason I decided to go that route is as an entrepreneur, we're always learning. I've never met an entrepreneur that doesn't want to learn, that doesn't want, whether it come by mentors. Mentors is what changed my life, by the way. Like hands down.
Same thing, 100%.
Mentors did it for me. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I will admit that 100%. But whether it came by books, talking with people in person that knew how to do what I wanted to do, or seminars, you name it, that's been a big part of my life. I actually really enjoy it. But I also is highly advantageous because it's what allows me to excel so fast. It's what allows me to expand as fast as I have and look at new opportunities. Yeah. So back to following passion and the reason I started Legacy Method. I wanted to find a way. Back in the day when I was learning, I used to always ask myself the question, what can I do that would make me money learning? And then I was like, how can I learn? But the next best thing is taking the knowledge that I've learned and teaching other people. I am so passionate about it. I absolutely love it. And I love seeing people succeed. And here's another thing. The stuff that I talk about, I've actually done it, right? I'm showing people things that I've done. And I truly believe that everything that I'm teaching is going to change people's lives. And I love that. So what better feeling than to go out there? I mean, you know all about this, Dan. What better feeling than to go out there and follow your passion, but simultaneously help hundreds, thousands of people on a regular basis. That's why I started Legacy Method.
I totally agree with you, because I think for someone, so I think some people, they start business because they want to make a living, they want to make a profit. That's great. Everybody, the purpose of business is to make a profit, right? Some people, they start business because they're very passionate about certain things, right? Some people start business because that's their calling, that's the purpose, right? And I think we're the luckiest when you can combine purpose, passion with profit all into one, and you're doing all three at the same time. It doesn't get much better than this. It really doesn't.
I agree with that 100%. That's what keeps me going. This is why I do what I do.
I love it. So what exactly is Legacy Method? For someone, let's say someone who doesn't know, right? What exactly, what is the method?
So it's actually taken on a whole new form of its own. So Legacy Method is actually Legacy Method University now. So Legacy Method University is an area where entrepreneurs can come and learn multiple different skill sets based on my experience, based on the experience of people who have done it, who have made millions, who are living just like I talked about mentors earlier, right? These are the information that is within the Legacy Method is information that comes from people who have experienced it and know that they can help anybody out there that's wanting to get involved get from point A to point B. That's what it's about. So the biggest thing for me where it started was launching products, teaching people how to launch products and how to effectively sell them on Amazon. Why did I go that route? Because, well, that's what I've been doing for 8 years now.
So what you're saying is within the Legacy Method University, you are kind of one of the instructor, but your vision is actually have different instructors, different areas of expertise they can bring to the table, right? They kind of be the other instructors and teach anyone who wants to learn some of these skills and acquire this kind of new knowledge, right?
Absolutely, right? Like I'm not going to be the absolute best at everything out there. But what I will do is I will bring on the people that are the absolute best and use that collectively and synergistically with what I'm teaching to enhance the capabilities of the entrepreneur who are out there that are involved in the program that are wanting to take their skill set to the next level.
And what would be the curriculum? Is it a subscription model like Netflix, or is it going to be they take individual courses? Like what's your vision?
Sure. So due to popular demand, I think that it's going to take, currently it's a one-time pay, right? So we have courses that are one-time purchases, but due to popular demand, and I think it would be even more advantageous for what our clients are looking for, then that's creating a subscription base where we can actually, not only will they learn through the curriculum how to do the things that they want to learn, for example, launching products on Amazon or manufacturing products, how to import them, how to come up with the ideas, how to do market analysis, you name it. But we're also going to have they're also going to have the capability of being part of a community that will walk them every single step of the way, in every step of their journey from point A to point B in the business that they decide to launch.
I love it. And then from point B, and then you have other programs and curriculum in the future, they can take them from point B to point C, right? Because as you know, once you learn how to launch it, whatever problem you solve will be replaced immediately by another problem, right? That you, as an entrepreneur, you got to solve that problem, right? And now you have a lot of sales, they have solved another problem.
Absolutely. I mean, there's always something out there, and you're absolutely right. You know, we have people that reach out to us and they want to learn how to, launch a product, and then it turns into, well, how do I run my Facebook advertisements? Right. How do I run my YouTube campaigns effectively so I can optimize the traffic that's being driven to my listings? How do I do SMS marketing to the most to give me the best benefit and the most bang for my buck? So yeah, it just continually goes on, and we're there to help them every step of the way with that.
I love it. And then what about, so in terms of legacy, Method University combined with the book, what inspired you to write the book?
Okay, so originally I didn't want to go down that route, and here's why. I'm still running my businesses incredibly effectively, and very effectively, I should say, more accurate way to put that. And I'm still consulting for billion-dollar publicly traded companies. I'm still following my passion. So, albeit, teaching is my passion. The reason it took me so long to get involved with that is I'm just, for lack of a better word, Dan, I was crushing it in my respective space. So, I'll tell you a quick story here. I was out in Vegas at an event, and I ran into Kevin Harrington. Sorry, the name skipped my mind for a second. I ran into Kevin Harrington.
Nice.
So Kevin Harrington, sounds like you're familiar with him.
I just saw him a few weeks ago.
Okay, yeah. So he's everywhere. He's an awesome guy. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
So long story short, we ran into each other. We started talking some business, and I was invited up to his suite where they had a couple other entrepreneurs, and Rob Koshberg, who is the owner of Bestseller Publishing, ended up showing up there. He did some work with Russell Brunson. He published his books. So I started telling him about my story, and I was just connecting with these guys and telling them, hey, look, I'm just, the reason I do what I do is because it's my passion. And then in addition to that, if I can, I love helping people. This is just what I like doing, So long story short, they said, hey, look, if you're interested, we'd love to write a book. We'd love for you to write a book with us, and we'd publish it for you. And my initial response was like, I don't need another thing on my plate.
I don't have time, man. I don't want to do this.
Time. I'm not an author. That's just not what I do. And they a few months down the road, again, a long story short, a few months down the road, I ended up running into Dan again, or Kevin again, and I got back in touch with Rob. And it made sense, and I felt like it was the time to do it. So I've been working with their team to put my book together, and I feel incredible about it. And I'm super excited to get it in the hands of entrepreneurs.
Nice. And this is coming out, you're expecting sometime next year?
3 to 5 months.
3 to 5 months, okay.
It could be this year.
Could be this year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's last time when I finished my book, the FU Money book, I swear to myself, I'll never write another book, right? Never write a book. I know how much work it is, right? And now with a new book coming out in a few months, and a Lok book, it's one of those things I think you see as an entrepreneur writing a book, it changes your life. It changes a lot of people's lives. It changed a lot because now before your story is you're sharing it in this kind of format, one-on-one, or even speaking one-to-many. But when you've got something like physical, right, the impact that you have, the difference would be like someone watching you versus, oh, I know you. It's like, hey, Mason, I read your book. I read your book 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, right? And it changed my life. There's something about it. It has a lot of staying power. And I think it ties it very nicely with the Legacy Method University because a book is a legacy. It'll be around. It will be around even you and I, when you and I are gone. It's still around. Right? Napoleon Hill, the book is still around.
What was the tipping point for you when you finally said, I mean, because I can relate. You said it's a lot of work. It is a ton of work, even though I have this.
It's even more work than you anticipate. As you get into it, it's even more. You think it's this much work? No. It's going to be this much work.
If you want it to be good, there's a lot of work that goes, and you obviously know that. You have more experience with this than I do. At what point did you say, hey, look, I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to make it happen. I'm just interested because it sounds like what you just said is very similar to how I felt about it. So I'm just interested to hear what your story on that.
So my last book, FU Money, is my most well-known book, right? It's like bestseller and everybody knows that book. We have a lot of download. Like that's the book that I was known for. Now I wrote that 10 years ago. So I was in my like late 20s, right? I was more brash. I was more arrogant, right? I was more like, cocky, right? Like, I'm not proud to admit it, but it's true.
Yeah.
And fast forward today, and that's why with my book, even the subtitle is The Master Key to Wealth, Success, and Significance. So I'm at a different stage of my life where I was actually having discussion with my wife, right? We don't have any kids yet. But I'm like, okay, let's say I have a couple kids. Do I really want my kids to read FU Money? Is that like what I want to be known for? So that's what drives me, it inspires me. You know what? I need a different book that shares with the world what I believe today, who I am today, right? And I need that. I need someone that, hey, son, daughter, read this. This is what your dad has done. This is what it's about. So that's it. That's really it.
That's interesting. I love that. Like I love the reasoning behind it. And I'm a guy who is about core values.
100%.
Good moral compass. And that's really.
And
cool.
I learned, and I want to share my involvement, just my development as a human being, right? What I believe, what I used to believe in, right? Which is a lot of just success and accomplishment, and what I believe today, right? It's just impact, its significance. It's a very different thing, and I want people to see. Different stages of your life, you have different things drive you, right? And what's important for you before may be not so important to you today, right? And who knows, maybe when I'm 60 years old, I'll do another book. I'll tell myself I won't do another book, but maybe when I'm 60 years old, hey, his book is what I've learned now after 60 years, right? In life and business, right?
At that point, you'll say, hey, kids, don't read this one. Read
this one. This is the one you want to read, right?
Sure.
It may be a totally different book. It may be a book not on business at all. Right? Maybe it's a book just on life in general. So that's what motivates me. But you will see when you have this, it opens a whole new door for you. It really does. It really, really does. Because now when you meet someone, you can give them something. Like they say someone who doesn't know you, give them a book. Now they know, okay, I got it. I understand your story, understand your history, understand why you do what you do, understand your core values. Like you would meet someone for the first 5 minutes, they've read your book, and you feel like they've known you for a lifetime. It's very interesting.
That's interesting. I'm excited to know that feeling, Dan. I'm excited to know what
You'll love it. And then you tell yourself, I promise you, after you finish this book, I will never write another book. A few years later, you'll write another book.
Hey, don't read this one. Read this.
I'm telling you, man.
Read both.
Once you're in it, I mean, you're stuck. Good kind of stuff, but you're stuck.
For me, I love accolades. I love having one more notch under the belt. So when I first was presented with this opportunity, the part of me was like, oh man, I would love to have a book. Right. It's the credibility. It's a sense of accomplishment. It's something that lives on, right? We all want to be remembered. 100%. We all want to have that 100%. And have something to pass on. So yeah, having something like this is, I'm almost more excited about that than any other business I'm working on, except for the legacy method, which this all ties in anyways.
Yes, yes. So share with us, like, what are some of the goals that you have in the next, like, 2-3 years? Like your vision for your company. I know you're doing consulting with huge company and you're running your business, you're doing a book, Legacy Method University. Like, what's your vision for the next 2-3 years?
I would like to see Legacy Method expand globally. And I'm talking, like, when I talk about what I want, when you ask me in the next 3 to 5 years, I try to think big, right? Because this is what got me to where I'm at right now. And there's so much more that I want to do in life. And in all honesty, then I actually feel like I got started late, right? There's so many people out there that have the capabilities of doing this a lot younger than when I got started, right? And it was all because it was kind of ego. Like, I don't need anybody else. I'll make this work, right? That was my roadblock.
Yes.
And so I had to get past that. And when I realized, well, shoot, here's somebody who can guide me step by step by step. Why not just go that route, right? And save myself years. So for me, what I see is Legacy Method expanding globally. That's really what I want to do. It's my passion right now. And who knows, man, maybe in 3 to 5 years, like you said, when you're 60, you might have, a whole different view on life and a whole bit different perspective. I know enough now that I don't know what I'm going to feel in 5 years from now. All I can expect and hope for is that I've grown substantially as a person. But I would love to see Legacy Method international.
And have students all over the world going through the program, learning, growing, and have this massive community, correct?
Yeah. So can I ask you a question, actually? Because I know this is, you've got something going on too that's in the same realm, and you've got experience with. This is something that you've been doing much longer than I have. Yes. So I'm interested. Like, what is your take on that? What do you want? Where do you want yours to go?
I think for me, what I'm building, because when people see what I do, it's funny because people see me on social media and they don't really understand like how my organization works, right? They only see bits and pieces of it, which I like it because I purposely keep it that way. But so with what I do, although we have one of our signature program, of course, high ticket closer program, which we do have students from now 150 countries. Mason, can you believe this? 150 countries, right? Like
that's awesome.
It's crazy. So we have this massive community. So what I have done is instead of offering just a program or a product, what I believe in now transitioning, I'm also launching a SaaS company, right? So, now I have all these students from all over the world. They're all like high ticket closers, right? I train them on sales, on communication. So this pool of talents that I have, so I want to be able to bring it to the world. So what started out as a product now is actually like a movement, if that makes sense. It's beyond it's just a community. It's beyond it's a course. It's a movement, right? When you have students from all over the world share a common vision, right? So from there, the movement is really my launching party in a couple months, my platform closers.com, which think of it like an Uber for closers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So be able to connect companies with closers. Anyone who's looking for closers and salespeople, professionals, boom, I can just match them up with my students, right? So from product to a movement, really, then what I'm building is an ecosystem. I believe that's where this is going, right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So you think about the book or even social or like all these things, it's all part of the ecosystem, if that makes sense. So to me, an ecosystem, look at Apple. Apple is an ecosystem, right? Apple, you have the app developers. Apple provides the platform, iTunes and things like that, right? Or App Store. It's an ecosystem that has a lot of different vendors and a huge amount of consumers, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to create that platform for the companies we work with, but also for my students. So then it's not just learning a skill, it's they learning a skill, but I can bring them into my platform. They can actually utilize the skill right away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Would that program be more for the beginner, somebody who's just getting their feet wet in sales? That's what it's for? Okay.
That's right. So for someone who it's so interesting because I have people from all walks of life joining this movement really, that they don't have any sales background. They're from all walks of life, right? And you know what's amazing? You like numbers, you love this, right? As an entrepreneur. So just last month, we calculated how much my students have generated, like all the students from all over the world, how much they've generated using the skills I taught them for companies and entrepreneurs and everything, everybody, right? So documented numbers, $3.5 billion.
That is incredible.
$3.5 billion, right?
You know what's amazing about that? That's $3.5 billion worth of sales and people that were spending that you helped.
Right. So I'm like,
that's what I think about. I think that's where my mind goes when I hear that number. That's such a massive number that
right.
The amount of value that's being delivered.
It's incredible. It's just so to me that it's amazing. Like I'm able to do this. So I'm educator. I am the teacher, but then still I'm the CEO. Then I can build this, and I'm very honored I'm able to do this. Right. Because you and I know once you're a good entrepreneur, making money is actually pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Like selling things, if you're good, you can make money, you can sell something. It's not that difficult, right? But then to use the same talent, now it's like not just you're good, how do you make other people good? And not only how to make other people good, how do you make them good as well as be able to create a great life? That's a very different thing. That's a very different thing, right? Mm-hmm. Creating a good life for yourself, okay, we got that. How can you create a good life for 50,000 people, 100,000 people? It's a very different thing, right? And it's a lifetime work. So you asked me, that would be my vision. That's exactly my focus. But this is something I can work on for the rest of my life, right? It's not.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, like
2 of us.
It's not 5-year projects, not 3-year project. This is something I can work on for the rest of my life, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the book it gets the message out there. It exposes people to the brand. It shares my story, but really it's the ecosystem, right?
Absolutely.
And it's very, very difficult for someone, from a business competition point of view, anyone can knock off your product. It's very difficult to knock off an ecosystem.
That's a good point.
Right.
That's a good point. Right.
It's like here's my course. What's so special about the course? It's not that special.
I saw a video that you had launched, and you've got obviously a plethora of them, a lot of them, and a lot of them are really, really great. And you had one that you had launched, and it was, I got to grab a pen for this. Sell me this pen. And it wasn't the tradition. It wasn't what I expected, right? Because people say, hey, sell me this pen. Okay, here, give it to me. Write your name down. I don't got a pen. And they write it down. You took a different approach. And I love that. It's something new. It's something that only experience would be able to produce. You can't produce that kind of cleverness unless you've had the experience and you're in it every day. And that's what's so valuable about this. And that's what can't be reproduced. That's what can't be knocked off.
That's exactly it. Totally. I mean, now to me, in moving forward, data is the new goal, of course, data and human capital. Mm-hmm. That's the 2 areas. Anyone who's in control of big data, anyone who's has master human capital, those companies will thrive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now it becomes a different interview. Now they're interviewing me.
Man, I don't know what else to say. I figured I want to ask a couple questions.
No, it's awesome. It's a good question. It's very, very good question. Very good question. So let's circle back to you. Okay. So if my fans want to connect with you, I know the book is not ready yet, but what's the best way if they want to get on a list, before it comes out? Like, what's the best way to connect with you? Or stay on top of what you're working on.
So it's Mason at officialmasonthomas.com.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got the, if I can, I don't know if social media, if you want me to drop that, I can drop that as well.
Yes, please.
Sure. Okay. So the social media, my Instagram is Mason_Thomas_official. And then my Facebook is just Mason Thomas. You can look me up. I'm more than happy to, collaborate with people on my personal profile, which I recently made public because I want to be able to connect with the people that are reaching out to me. So those are 3 ways to get in contact with me if anyone's interested.
Fantastic. And I'm glad we connected. I always say that this is always I hope this is the beginning of a friendship. Right, that this is how we first connect. And I love to do podcasts because that's how I meet a lot of new friends. Like whenever I meet with them through podcasts virtually, Then when I go to certain cities, like I'm flying out in a couple months to LA, I'm going to meet a bunch of new friends, like just through podcasts. Hey, I'm coming to your place, or they're coming to Vancouver. They also let me know, and that's how, we hang out and we talk, right?
That's why I love doing this. The same thing. I love me. Awesome. I mean, yeah, you're an awesome guy, and I'm glad that we connected. And yeah, this is going to be this is definitely a beginning of a friendship, and I'm sure, in the near future, who knows, we'll probably end up doing some business together and helping a lot of people.
100%. And you know what? When the book is out, I'll also send you a copy. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm excited.
I want to read it.
You got it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.